Nicole Kidman, you are a magnificent friend. You've got a huge heart and your loyalty is without question. On the other side of that, you are quite simply one of the greatest actresses who have ever worked in this business. That's why everyone's here tonight. That is what this celebration is about.
You were named the American Film Institute. You were given the American Film Institute Lifetime Achievement Award, the first Australian to get it. So now you can turn to Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe and say, in your face. Right? That's got to be worth something.
They're like my brothers, so I'm like their sister, so I think they're happy for me.
Okay, good.
I hope they are.
But sisters
they
love...
didn't come.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Wow.
But
There's going to be a price to be paid for.
Says Nicole feels betrayed, and it's been reported that Keith may already have another woman in his life, which would
I was scared. I was nervous to call her. And as prone as I might have been at the time to all sorts of delusional thinking, even I couldn't stretch that to think that this extraordinary woman would ever see anything in a guy like me. And that's not me being humble, that's literally how I saw myself and her. I did...
Hollywood's golden couple, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, had everyone fooled until one shocking revelation flipped their story upside down. Rumors say Russell Crowe just exposed the real reason behind their split, and it's way darker than anyone imagined. From secret warnings to sudden custody deals, this story has everything. Love, betrayal, and silence finally breaking. So grab your tea, because what Russell allegedly revealed might change everything we thought we knew. Stay tuned, this one's wild.
That still makes me very happy. He cried, she cried. There we go. We find happiness. We're coming up to 20 years of marriage, actually. Yeah. Kind of crazy, right?
I thought she was way out of my league. Not in a million years did I think somebody like that would be interested in me. At all. We just started talking and just really clicked.
Keith thought anything else. He was really my first major relationship, and that was all I knew.
As you probably figured out, pluck up the courage to finally call her. We started talking, and we just talked and talked like we'd known each other our whole lives. It turned out that this mystic creature was really just a wide-eyed, vivacious, giddy girl from the Sydney suburbs, and despite being born in Honolulu, she was utterly Aussie.
Okay, so Russell Crowe has allegedly dropped a major bomb about Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's divorce, and it's not what fans expected. Reports say Nicole actually warned Keith about his affair before everything came crashing down. And if that's true, it completely changes what everyone thought they knew about their so-called picture-perfect marriage. For the longest time, people believed Nicole and Keith just grew apart after 19 years together. The story was that Keith was the loving husband who toured too much, and the distance slowly pulled them apart. But now, according to new reports, Russell Crowe, one of their closest friends, is allegedly saying there's a darker truth behind it all. Apparently, Nicole didn't just wake up one day and decide the marriage was over. She saw what was happening. She confronted Keith. She warned him. She even gave him a chance to fix things before walking away for good. And what happened after that might completely shatter Hollywood's image of them as the perfect couple.
Lana!
Keith, iHeartRadio!
Lana!
Keith, iHeartRadio! Good to see you.
Nicole, you look beautiful.
With being in such a creative partnership, what are the dinner table conversations like with you both being so talented in your own fields?
I mean, of late, unfortunately, it's all been about the album, so it's been a bit dominant, a little bit one-sided. But it's super compatible because we're both artists.
Yeah.
You know, we are different in different ways, of course, but there's a lot of similarities between actors and musicians.
So now everyone's asking, what exactly did Russell reveal? What kind of affair is he supposedly talking about? When did Nicole's warnings happen? And did this mean Keith Urban wasn't the devoted husband everyone thought he was, but the one who actually betrayed her trust? To understand why Russell's words matter so much, you have to look at who he is to them. He's not just some random celebrity making comments for attention. Russell Crowe has known Nicole for decades. They're both Australian icons who came up together in Hollywood. They've shared the same circles, worked on the same projects, and supported each other through the years.
Can I say hi?
Hi,
What's your name? Where are you from?
Nicole Urban.
Oh, cool.
I want to get your jacket. You put it on the floor, and I'm worried.
Okay, come on, grab my jacket. She literally said, "Don't lose that jacket." And I'm like, how am I going to lose the jacket? Now, it's gone. See, look, you jinxed it. Oh, my guitar tech stole it. There you go. Just a Saturday night in Las Vegas.
I heard that when you first heard the title, Baby Girl, you're like, I want to be Baby Girl.
Yeah. I want to be baby girl.
What was it about?
I'm done. I want to be baby girl.
Here's where it gets even more interesting. Russell was actually there the night Nicole and Keith first met. It was that Golden Dinner Los Angeles gala back in 2005. He saw the spark between them, watched their romance grow, and stayed close to both of them through almost 2 decades of marriage. This wasn't gossip from the sidelines. Russell allegedly had direct access to the couple. He saw how they really were behind closed doors, heard their frustrations, and witnessed things the public never knew about. And when someone's seen a love story from its beginning to its final warning, staying silent starts to feel like betrayal. That's what makes his alleged revelation so powerful. It's not just speculation. It's supposedly coming from someone who was part of their inner circle. Now the big question is, why speak up now? Close friends usually stay quiet when things like this happen, especially during a high-profile divorce. So if Russell is really breaking that code of silence, something or someone must have pushed him to do it. Now here's where things really get interesting. People close to the situation think Russell might actually be trying to protect Nicole's reputation. Right now, the public story makes Keith look like the heartbroken husband, the poor guy who got left behind, while Nicole's being painted as the one who walked away from someone who truly loved her. But if the rumors are true, if there really was an affair, and Nicole warned him, but he didn't change, then suddenly the whole story flips. Nicole isn't the cold one anymore. She's the betrayed wife who gave her husband a second chance. And Keith, he becomes the one who broke the marriage. So what exactly did Russell supposedly reveal? According to reports spreading all over entertainment news, he made claims that Nicole confronted Keith about some kind of inappropriate behavior, maybe even an affair, and told him straight up that if it continued, their marriage was over. And apparently that was the warning everyone's been talking about. This alleged revelation has been making waves online and in Hollywood gossip circles, not because anyone has caught Russell on record saying those exact words, but because it fits so perfectly with how fast everything in their marriage fell apart.
Whoa, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's breakup is probably the biggest celebrity split so far of 2025, but maybe there were signs all along. In an interview last year with Times writer Ed Potton, Keith supposedly got a little antsy when the subject of Nicole was brought up.
We've had the best conversation, he said, and at the very end, you're going to give one more swing to see if I'll talk about my wife. I'm not going to talk about her.
And during this interview with an Australian radio show, Keith hung up when he was asked a question about Nicole.
Oh, why has that happened? What's just happened to you?
He's disconnected from Zoom.
Did he just hang up on us?
He's gone.
Happened.
He's
oh my
gone.
God.
And this happened on another radio show in Australia.
I just often think that if you weren't at that event, maybe you don't have the same friendship group, it may never have happened.
Well, never know.
You never know.
It's fate. It's the universe.
Anyway, moving on.
I think so.
That body language says, I'm over it, and it gives us an idea about the timeline. According to all the reporting, Keith was the one who wanted out of the marriage, and Nicole's been trying to save it. So the question is, why did this break this week?
After 19 years of marriage, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban are divorcing and everyone is just shocked. An interesting thing about this is they actually separated in June according to TMZ. Reports were saying that Nicole wanted to save this marriage, but Keith, on the other hand, did not. And allegedly, his inner circle was saying that he already moved on with another.
But here's where things get a little tricky. The word warned can mean two completely different things. It could mean Nicole found out about an affair, confronted Keith, and told him one more slip-up would end everything. Or it could mean she warned him that his consistent touring and time away from home were pushing their marriage to the edge. People breaking down Russell's alleged comments say this choice of wording might actually be on purpose, vague enough to stir conversation, but not so direct that it could cause legal problems. Smart move, right? What makes all of this even more shocking is that Russell is supposedly breaking what Hollywood insiders call the friendship code. You don't just talk about other people's marriages, especially when it involves someone as famous as Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. So if he really did share this, it probably means one of two things. Either Nicole gave him the go signal to tell her side, or Russell feels so strongly about defending her that he's willing to risk his friendship with Keith.
Nicole Kidman, you are a magnificent friend. You've got a huge heart and your loyalty is without question. On the other side of that, you are quite simply one of the greatest actresses who have ever worked in this business. That's why everyone's here tonight. That is what this celebration is about.
And the timing? Too precise to ignore. Speaking up right after the divorce papers were filed definitely changes the public's perspective. If there really was an affair or something inappropriate going on, getting that story out early helps everyone understand why Nicole finally decided to walk away and why the split happened so fast.
Nicole's divorce filing comes just 5 days after she stepped out still wearing her wedding ring. Nicole signed the doc yesterday and cites irreconcilable differences. The actress was granted primary custody of their 2 teenage
Nicole
daughters.
Kidman is getting candid about her new life changes. During an interview with Vogue that occurred shortly before she filed for divorce from Keith Urban, the actress alluded to facing a new chapter, telling the outlet, "How many times do you have to be taught that you think you know where your life is going, and then it isn't going in that direction?"
Now, to really understand Russell's alleged revelation, we have to look at Keith's lifestyle. The man was on tour for roughly 200 days a year throughout his marriage. That's more than half of the year away from home, surrounded by bandmates, crew members, and, of course, adoring fans. Russell, being in showbiz for decades himself, knows exactly how that life works. You're constantly moving from one city to another, lonely half the time, and always getting attention from people who idolize you. And according to those who've looked into Russell's alleged claims, he noticed how that lifestyle made it incredibly hard for Keith to stay faithful, especially considering his history of addiction and impulse control issues.
After 19 years of marriage, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban are divorcing and everyone is just shocked. An interesting thing about this is they actually separated in June, according to TMZ. Reports were saying that Nicole wanted to save this marriage, but Keith, on the other hand, did not. And allegedly, his inner circle was saying that he already moved on with another woman. Today, we're getting in the news that Nicole filed for divorce from Keith Urban. And apparently, this is due to irreconcilable differences. Probably just a real fancy way of saying like they weren't getting along. According to their parenting plan, we know that the kids are going to spend 306 days with Nicole and 59 days with Keith. They also agreed that all major decisions involving their kids, including...
Only a few months after the wedding, Keith checked himself into rehab, a clear sign his self-control was already slipping. Russell allegedly saw the pattern forming early on. A mix of addiction and nonstop touring can be a dangerous combination, and what made it hard for Keith to stay sober might have also made it hard for him to stay faithful.
That still makes me very happy. He cried, she cried. I mean, when do you get to have your wedding photograph on the cover of People magazine? That really was an extraordinary day. I remember being in Sydney and driving down the street, and there was such a sort of I was with my dad, who's obviously not around now, and he was in the car with me, and we were driving to the church, and there were people, so many people on the street, sort of celebrating us, which was just one of the most emotional things in my life. And subsequently, I've had 2 little girls with this man, so oh my gosh. There we go. We find happiness. We're coming up to 20 years of marriage, actually. Yeah. Kind of crazy, right?
People close to Russell say he noticed Nicole growing more and more suspicious while Keith was on tour. The late-night calls, the defensiveness, when she asked simple questions, the emotional distance. It wasn't just homesickness anymore. Nicole's sharp. She would have seen the signs. The way he guarded his phone, dodged questions, acted different the first day home compared to a few days later. Something clearly changed.
How do you guys do the long distance thing? Do you have like a rule, like FaceTime every day?
We're not apart very much, honestly. Very, very short. We do a lot of travel back and forth so that we don't stay apart.
Is that the secret? Yeah, it is probably. To never take it for granted, to say, come on, to sort of, you know, constantly be trying to woo.
Every nice date night, just going out, doesn't matter where it is.
So cool.
Whether it's the beach or here, it's kind of the same feel.
Russell reportedly saw all of this play out. Nicole wasn't just worried about him being gone, she was worried about what he was doing when he wasn't home. The concern went beyond loneliness. It was about trust. And according to Russell's alleged revelation, that trust eventually broke. Whether Nicole found solid proof or just behavior she couldn't ignore, she reached her limit. If Russell's story is true, the warning happened somewhere between their picture-perfect anniversary posts in June and Keith's signing custody papers in August. Publicly, they looked fine. On June 26, they both posted sweet anniversary messages. Keith even wrote, "Happy anniversary, baby," with a romantic photo. But behind the scenes, things were falling apart fast. Barely 5 weeks later, on August 1st, Keith signed the parenting plan, giving Nicole full custody for 306 days a year, while he only got 59. Something huge clearly went down between those dates. Something that made Nicole walk away for good.
Mom, loving maternal, you know.
A source tells ET she is devastated about the split, adding she tried everything to save the 19-year marriage.
My wife, Nicole, Mary, is here tonight. I love you, baby girl.
According to the alleged timeline, that's when Nicole confronted him. She found out about his behavior and gave him a warning. Stop now or it's over. She gave him one last chance, but whatever he said or did clearly wasn't enough, because by August they weren't celebrating anniversaries anymore. They were signing custody papers.
We're told he felt Nicole wasn't showing up for him emotionally and felt that it was time to walk away. However, another source tells ET Nicole has stood by Keith throughout the highs and lows since the day they met. The couple has reportedly been living apart since the beginning of the summer. Our source says Keith has his own place in Nashville and has been living there for a while.
During this time, Russell reportedly saw the tension between Nicole and Keith getting worse. At events, it was subtle but noticeable. Nicole seemed distant, while Keith looked like he was overcompensating, almost trying too hard to prove something. The rumored ultimatum explains a lot, especially why Keith didn't fight it when he signed those custody papers. If he knew he was in the wrong, pushing back would have just dragged the truth into court. So instead of risking public humiliation, he stayed quiet and accepted the terms. That's also why the divorce moved so fast. There was no long break, no emotional statement about working things out, just a quick, clean split. Both sides even waived spousal support, which says a lot. When one person has the moral high ground, they usually get to call all the shots. And in this case, that person was Nicole.
Sources, Nicole feels betrayed, and it's been reported that Keith may already have another woman in his life, which would speak to the betrayal. Apparently, they had worked out all the divorce agreements, like the money and the parenting, way ahead, like almost a month ago. So this was already done, but we're hearing that Nicole wanted to delay the public announcement, probably because her kids were going back to school, and Keith was the one pushing for it. Allegedly, it was Keith who leaked on Monday that the two had broken up, prompting Nicole to be like, WTF, okay, I'm filing for divorce. And she did it on Tuesday. Apparently, it was a last-minute decision. So whatever happened over the last few days so much that she went directly to the lawyers and was like, let's get this done. People aren't just side-eyeing Keith for the rumors about having a new woman, though. They're also kind of like WTF over the custody agreement, because Nicole apparently is getting the kids 306 days of the year. That's over 80%. We know he's on tour, but Nicole is booked and busy, so she's just as professionally committed as he is. Over the last 48 hours, this has gotten messier and messier.
So what exactly made Russell believe Keith might have crossed the line? People who followed his alleged comments point to a few red flags in Keith's behavior. First, the phone issue. He suddenly became super protective of it, taking it everywhere, keeping it face down, and getting defensive whenever Nicole asked who he was texting. After nearly 2 decades of marriage, that kind of secrecy stood out. Then came the defensiveness. Simple questions about his day would trigger irritation instead of normal conversation. It was like he felt accused even when Nicole wasn't trying to start anything. Add that to his growing emotional distance. Russell allegedly noticed Keith was physically there, but mentally checked out. just going through the motions without real
Reconcilable
connection.
differences. The actress was granted.
Here's where it gets even more suspicious. Around the same time Nicole's doubts started to grow, Keith's public love speeches suddenly became more dramatic. At the AFI ceremony in 2024, he gave a teary tribute about how Nicole helped him through rehab, saying she saved him and chose love when things were falling apart.
So I'm going to speak to a little bit about a particular view I get of Nick for a long time now. But I'll start with the fact that we met in January 2005. We were being honoured at this event called G'day LA, which sounds a bit like a pickup line from Crocodile Dundee. We chatted very briefly. I was trying to play it cool, but inside I felt like I'd snuck into the royal ball, simply because Nick had such a truly otherworldly aura about her, and I felt a bit like I was meeting a real-life princess. I know a lot of you can relate to that. And despite all of that, I did manage to get her phone number on a tiny piece of paper, and I carried that number in my pocket for well over...
To fans, that moment looked beautiful and heartfelt, but to those who believe Russell's version of events, it came off differently. Like Keith was performing devotion in public to make up for what he was really doing behind the scenes.
Week, I pull it out and look at it, put it back in my pocket. I was scared. I was nervous to call her. And as prone as I might have been at the time to all sorts of delusional thinking, even I couldn't stretch that to think that this extraordinary woman would ever see anything in a guy like me. And that's not me being humble, that's literally how I saw myself and her. I did, as you probably figured out, pluck up the courage to finally call her. We started talking, and we just talked and talked like we'd known each other our whole lives. It turned out that this mystic creature was really just a wide-eyed, vivacious, giddy girl from the Sydney suburbs, and despite being born in Honolulu, she was utterly Aussie.
At first, Keith's emotional tributes looked genuine and sweet, the kind of thing that made fans swoon. But according to what Russell allegedly hinted, those grand gestures weren't pure love. They were guilt. Russell supposedly believed Keith was showing off his devotion in public to cover up for what was happening behind closed doors. And honestly, that's a pattern we've seen before. When someone's hiding something, they often go overboard trying to look perfect. They post the sweetest captions, make emotional speeches, and act like everything's fine, all while living a completely different story in private. Russell reportedly noticed that exact contradiction. In public, Keith couldn't stop praising Nicole, but behind the scenes, the warmth wasn't the same. Russell allegedly saw Nicole backstage in tears after one of Keith's shows, a moment that showed how much pain she'd been hiding from the public eye. Nicole had even confided in Russell about things that made her uneasy, not just the loneliness of being apart, but the little incidents that didn't sit right. There was a fan photo that looked way too close for comfort, a story from Keith's crew that didn't line up with what he told her. Nothing big alone, but together, it painted a troubling picture. Now, if Russell really did reveal that Nicole warned Keith about his behavior, the big question is, why would he talk about it at all? In Hollywood, that kind of silence is sacred. You don't talk about your friends' marriages, especially when infidelity might be involved. So if Russell broke that unspoken rule, there had to be a reason.
You were named the American Film Institute. You were given the American Film Institute Lifetime Achievement Award. The first Australian to get it. So now you can turn to Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe and say, in your face. Right? That's got to be worth something.
They're like my brothers, so I'm like their sister, so I think they're happy for me.
Okay, good.
I hope they are.
But sisters
they
love...
didn't come.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Wow.
But they
There's going to be a price to be
messages.
paid for that.
Yeah.
People analyzing his comments believe he did it to protect Nicole. Right now, the public sees Keith as a victim, the heartbroken husband who got left behind, while Nicole gets painted as the one who walked away from love. But if there really was cheating, and she'd already given him a warning, then the entire narrative flips. Nicole becomes the betrayed partner who handled everything with grace, while Keith becomes the one who ruined it. Some think Russell just wanted to make sure Nicole's truth was out there. Others say it's a loyalty move, that he chose to stand by her instead of keeping quiet for Keith. Either way, the timing feels deliberate. By speaking up while the divorce was still being finalized, Russell's alleged comments helped shape how people saw the breakup. But let's be real, In celebrity circles, this isn't new. Insiders say it's common for close friends to leak the version of events one side wants the public to know. So maybe, just maybe, Russell's so-called revelation was Nicole's quiet way of telling her story without ever having to say a word herself. Now here's where things really start to make sense. When you look at the actual divorce terms, they line up a little too well with what usually happens when infidelity is involved. First, the speed. The whole thing was over almost instantly. No drawn-out drama, no public back and forth. That kind of clean, fast split usually happens when one person holds all the cards. In this case, that person seems to be Nicole.
Feeling for me?
Yep. She kind of threw me with the hair. I thought she actually cut it at the Met
A lot of
Gala.
people did, yeah.
So she didn't?
No,
Oh my gosh, what did you think of the short hair?
it's hot.
Yeah, it is hot.
Yeah.
She looks good.
Well, I'm there when he's writing them. I'm there when he's constructing them. He's involved in all parts of the, what do you call it, producing it?
Creation.
The creation of the song.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
So I feel like I know this music before it's played for the world.
Yeah, you do.
But I love it when it comes out and when I hear it.
Then there's the custody deal. Keith reportedly agrees to see the kids for only 59 days a year. That's just around 17%. Most fathers would fight for more time, but Keith didn't even try. It's the kind of move that you make when you know pushing back might expose things you'd rather keep quiet about. And get this, he even paid child support up front in one lump sum. No monthly payments, no ongoing conversations. That's not normal. That's someone saying, let's just end this quickly and cleanly. No arguments, no negotiations, no leverage. The timeline also tells a story of its own. Just 5 weeks after those happy anniversary posts, Keith was signing legal documents. That's not how slow emotional drift looks. That's how it looks when trust is shattered overnight. Everything about it screams damage control. It all fits a familiar pattern. The betrayed spouse taking charge, the guilty one quietly agreeing, and the whole thing moving fast to avoid any messy headlines. If Nicole had truly caught him doing something he couldn't defend, it explains everything. The silence, the speed, and the finality. She gave him a warning, he didn't change, and she followed through. Now here's the big question everyone keeps asking. Did Russell Crowe really say all this? The honest answer? Not officially. There's no direct interview or public quote where Russell flat out says, Nicole warned Keith about an affair. Nothing confirmed in major outlets.
Do people tell you your wife is in everything? Everything? Nicole Kidman is in everything.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
everything.
she's almost as busy as you, but not quite. Very close.
I don't know, bro. I think she's like First of all, she makes the greatest choices, and I'm sure you guys.
Yeah,
talk
everything
about
she
that
does is
before.
fantastic.
Like I was watching one of the series last night where she can get evil, diabolical in some of her roles as well. But
Yeah.
is that something with your life, her life, and mapping it all out with production and touring? That's a job, isn't it?
It's a job. Yeah.
And teenagers.
But here's what people think happened. Russell has spoken publicly before about Nicole and Keith's marriage, about the pressure of fame, the constant touring, and the ups and downs they faced. Somewhere in those talks, he might have mentioned tensions or warnings, and people connected the dots. Or maybe insiders close to Russell shared things he said in private. Either way, his name being linked to this rumor gives it weight. And honestly, when you piece everything together, the sudden shift from anniversary posts to custody papers, the one-sided custody deal, the prepaid support, and the total lack of resistance, it's hard not to see the pattern. Sure, there could be other explanations, but based off the timeline, the silence, and how fast it all went down, it really does look like Nicole Kidman's final warning had already been given. If these rumors are true, Russell Crowe may have just spilled Hollywood's best-kept secret, and Nicole's warning might have been her final act of strength. Whether you believe it's all coincidence or the truth finally surfacing, one thing's clear. This story isn't over yet. What do you think really happened between Nicole and Keith? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more exclusive celebrity breakdowns and deep dives like this.